So let's start another chapter, that is Docker architecture and workflow. So after completing this lesson, you will be able to understand about the Docker architecture and Docker workflow. Let's learn about the Docker architecture. As we have already discussed in our previous chapter, that Docker technology uses Linux kernel like C groups and namespaces concept to separately process and make them run without any dependencies. This independent feature is one that made Docker a successful one by running individual applications at the same time and making better utilization of infrastructure. Docker and container tools provide an image-based deployment model that sharing an application easy across multiple environments. So usually Docker uses a client-server architecture. The Docker talks to the Docker daemon and which does the heavy lifting of building, running and distributing your Docker containers. Right? So the Docker client and Docker daemon. Here the Docker client and the Docker daemon can run on the same system, or you can connect a Docker client to a remote Docker daemon. The Docker client and Docker daemon communicate using REST APIs over Unix sockets or network interface. Another Docker client is Docker Compose that we will discuss later on in this course. Right? Let's talk about the Docker daemon. The Docker daemon here, which you can see here, lies. The Docker daemon listens for the Docker API requests and manage the Docker objects such as images, containers, networks, and volumes. These are the Docker objects which is managed by the Docker daemon. And if we talk about Docker client, the Docker client is the primary way that many Docker users interact with Docker, right? When you use commands such as docker run, the client sends these commands to dockerd, which we call Docker daemon, which carries them out, which executes the command, right? And what are the Docker registries here? So the Docker registry stores the Docker images like Nginx, and these are the images that are stored in a Docker registry which we call a Docker Hub. So Docker Hub is a public registry that anyone can use, and Docker looks for images on the Docker Hub by default. Right? You can even run your own private registry on the Docker Hub as well. When you use the command docker pull or docker run, Docker pulls the required images from your configured registry. When you use the docker push command, Docker pushes your image to your configured registry. Earlier we have discussed that Docker host and Docker client can run on the same system. That is what in the case of Docker desktop. So Docker desktop is an easy to install application for your Linux systems or for your Windows system, or even you can download it on your Macintosh operating systems, which enables you to build, share the containerized applications and microservices. Right? So Docker desktop includes Docker daemon, Docker client, and other components of the Docker daemon that includes other Docker objects. So now let's talk about Docker client. So the Docker client provides several commands including docker build, docker pull, docker run, and each serving specific purpose within a Docker ecosystem. Right? So let's understand each. So if we talk about docker build, this command is used to build Docker images from the Docker file. So, and how it works? When you run a Docker build, Docker reads the instructions specified in the Docker file and creates an image, that is a new image, based on those instructions. It compiles the necessary dependencies, configurations and settings defined in that Docker file to produce a runnable image. Here you can take an example like developers use Docker build to create custom Docker images for their applications, specifying all the necessary components and configurations required to run their software within a containerized environment. Right? So if we talk about the second command in Docker client here, that is Docker pull. This command is used to download Docker images from the Docker registry. And how it works, when you run Docker pull, Docker fetches the specified image from a remote repository like Docker Hub or a private registry and store it on your local system. And if the image is already present locally, Docker will check for the updates and pull the latest version if available. For example, users use Docker pull to retrieve pre-built Docker images from the registries, enabling them to quickly access and use containerized application or services without needing to build the images themselves. Right? And if we talk about Docker run command, this command is used to create and run Docker images from Docker containers from Docker images, right? And how it works, when you run Docker run, Docker starts a new container based on the specified image and it creates an isolated environment for the containerized applications to run, applying any configurations or settings defined in that image. So the container runs as a separate process on your system, right? For example, users can use Docker run to launch containerized application or services, specifying options such as port mappings, volume mounts, environment variables, and more to customize the container's behavior as needed. So let's talk about Docker registries and Docker host in detail. Docker registries are like massive warehouse where Docker images are stored. They can be public or private, and even developers can create their own private ones on Docker Hub. So Docker Hub is a powerful or popular public registry that is open to everyone. When you run or pull Docker commands, the required images are fetched from these registries. Conversely, when you use the Docker push command, you are storing your images in registries. So registries are powerful tools for storing and distributing images. They can be configured to fit your needs, right? Setting up your own registries gives you full control over your image distribution process. And Docker registries streamline the image storage and distribution, whether for in-house development or for public sharing software. So Docker Hub in particular offers convenient features like automated and organization accounts. And if we talk about Docker Host is like a ready-to-use environment for running application. It includes everything needed for running Docker, such as image, daemon, network, storage, and containers. So now let's learn about Docker objects. So Docker objects are like the building blocks you use to put together to your application, right? And if we talk about image specifically, image is like, you can think of a Docker images as ready-made blueprints for building containers. They are like recipes that tell Docker how to create and run your applications. These images are read-only templates written in a special code format, and they contain all the necessary instructions and data needed to set up your application. Even you can share these images with your team or with the world through public or private registries like Docker Hub. And you can also create your custom images using a special file called Docker file, which contains the instruction on how to build the image step by step. And if we talk about these container objects, containers are like a mini computers that run your applications. They provide a contained environment for your application to do this thing. Each container is created from an image and comes with its own settings and configurations. right? So containers are portable, meaning that they can be moved and run on different machines easily. You can control containers using commands like start, stop, delete, and there are many other various commands that you can use with container for their access control and controlling their operations, right? And if we talk about the networking Docker object component, so Docker lets container talk to each other using networks. It's like setting up virtual phone lines between them. They are there are default networks that Docker sets up automatically, and you can also create your own custom networks. So different types of networks have different features like allowing containers to communicate across different hosts or removing the need for the port forwarding. So that is depend upon your requirements. And the last object is storage here. So what the storage is? So Docker containers can store data, but it is usually temporary and gets erased when the Docker stops running. So if you need to store data persistently, Docker offers an option like data volumes. Here you can store your data. It allows you to connect to Docker container to external storage platform or create a persistent storage that survives even when the container is stopped or deleted. So now let's talk about Docker workflow. Docker builds a Docker image and that image contains all the project code, right? You can run that image to create as many as Docker containers as you want. And then this image can be uploaded on a Docker Hub. From the Docker Hub, anyone can pull the image and build a container. So let's discuss what is happening here. Developer writes a code that defines an application requirements or dependencies in an easy to write Docker file. Right? This is a Docker file. And this Docker file produces a Docker image. So whatever the dependencies are required for a particular application is present or packaged inside this image, and the Docker containers are nothing but the runtime instance over Docker image. This image is then uploaded to Docker Hub, which is the repository for Docker images. It contains public as well as private repositories. So from public repositories, you can pull your image as well as you can upload your own images as well on a Docker Hub. So from the Docker Hub, various teams such as testing or quality assurance teams or production teams can pull the image and can prepare their own container, as you can see in this figure. So what is the major advantage we get through this workflow is, so whatever the dependencies that are required for your application is actually packaged in a unit called container, and that container can be easily moved to the production environment and maintain consistency across different environment as well. So let's discuss in-depth explanation to all the components here in this figure. So Docker file is what builds the Docker image, and Docker image is the template with instructions. These are read-only, which is having all the dependencies and configurations already written into that image, right? And Docker Hub, Docker has its own cloud-based registry called Docker Hub, right? Where users can store and distribute container images. You can store your images over the Docker Hub, and Docker Hub can have two types of registries, private or public, depending upon your requirement. And Docker container is an executable package of an application that built over the image, and its dependencies are also in that particular container, right? So now let's talk about the underlying technology. Docker built using the Go programming language, and it uses the namespaces to create isolated environment, which is known as containers, right? Also, here a unique file system is used, which is used for the basis of for Docker images. So what is the union file system? This is a file system type that allows multiple directories to be merged transparently into a single directory. It presents a unified view of these directories, combining their contents while preserving their individual structures. So Docker employs a union file system approach to create lightweight and efficient images. This involves layering multiple read-only file system layers on the top of each other. When container is launched, Docker combines these layers into a single unified file system, providing a coherent view of the container's file system. Right? The easiest way to understand union file system is to think of them like a layer of cake with each layer baked independently. The Linux kernel is our base layer. Then we might add an operating system like Red Hat Linux or Ubuntu. Next, we might add an application like Nginx or Apache. So every change creates a new layer. Finally, as you make changes and new layers are added, you will always have a top layer that is called a writable layer. So you can see here in this picture, the topmost layer is the writable layer. What makes this truly efficient is that Docker caches the layer the first time we build them, right? So let's say we have an image with Ubuntu and then add Apache and build the image, and next we build MySQL with Ubuntu as a base. The second build will be much faster because Ubuntu layer is already cached, right? So this is all about the underlying architecture or underlying technology of Docker. So here in this chapter, we have studied about images, that images are the read-only templates, and we studied about the containers, and also we studied about Docker Hub. These are the private or public repository that we can use, right? Now we will discuss quiz. So what component of Docker is responsible for managing Docker objects such as images, containers, volumes, and networks? So the options are Docker client, Docker engine, Docker registry, or containerd. So the correct option is Docker engine. Next question is, which of the following is a command line tool used to interact with Docker daemon? Options are Docker engine, Docker registry, Docker client, and containerd. So the option C is correct. Docker client is a command line tool that is used to interact with Docker daemon. Right? Next question is, what is the role of containerd in the Docker architecture? So the options are, it manages Docker objects such as images and containers. It provides a RESTful HTTP API for Docker, or it's an industry standard container runtime used to manage container lifecycle operations, and it is responsible for creating, executing container instances based on OCI specification. So the correct answer is option C. It's an industry standard container runtime used to manage container lifecycle operations. So the next question is, what is the purpose of Docker images in Docker workflow? So to manage Docker objects such as images and containers, to provide a RESTful HTTP API for Docker, to store and share read-only templates that contain everything that needed to run a Docker, and to run and manage container instances based on OCI specification. So the correct answer is to store and share read-only templates that contain everything needed to run a container, right? Next question is, what is the primary function of Docker registry in Docker workflow? So, managing Docker objects such as images and containers, providing RESTful HTTP API for Docker, storing and sharing Docker images, and running and managing container instances based on OCI specification. So the correct answer is storing and sharing Docker images.